Hi, my name is Lavinia. This is Peter. Welcome to Games Made Easy, a channel to learn board games quickly and easily. Today, I'm very happy to teach you and give you tips on how to play Caretos, a Portuguese game with a very unique theme. What I like in this game is how you play two characters, but also you can play some non-playing characters like the Caretos to foil other people's plans. It's a game that has a lot of depth and is quite strategic. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. In Caretos, you play in a mountainous region of Portugal said to be full of scary monsters like werewolves, witches, as well as Caretos, who are disguised villagers who are even scarier than monsters. You actually play with two monsters, competing to scare as many villagers as possible while trying to avoid the crazed Caretos. To win, the monsters need to capture as many villagers as possible, match them with the end of game objectives, and score bonus cards for extra points. The game has beautiful components. Let's have a look at them while I set up the game. First, place the board in between all players. One side is for 3 to 4 players, the other for 2 players. Then randomly draw 2 monsters for each player. Each player picks one of these symbols and places their monsters on the corresponding location on the map. Put the remaining monsters back in the box. Place the 2 Caretos where indicated on the map. Now let's place the villagers. For a 2-player game, remove 10 villagers, 2 of each color. Take all the remaining villagers and randomly draw 5 for each location marked on the map. Place a fireplace near each group of villagers. Place the remaining campfires near the board. Select the night cards for the number of players. These are your action cards. Shuffle them. Give 3 to each player face down and keep the remainder of the deck near the board also face down. Shuffle the end of game objective deck and give each player 1 card face down. Return the rest of the deck in the box. Shuffle the bonus cards, the ones with a ghost, and reveal the top 3 and place them near the board. Keep the deck face down nearby. Finally, place the cauldron next to the board. Now each player is ready to start. You draw randomly for first place and the first player can take his action. Now, turns are made of 3 phases. The first phase is the mandatory action phase. The second is the optional action phase. And then you have the end of turn. Let's start with the mandatory action phase. This is where you will use your night cards. In your turn, you can use 1 night card. This is how you activate your monsters. Let's have a look at them in more detail. They come in 3 colors. The red is the comet, the yellow is the storm, and the green is the moon. They also match the 3 actions each monster can choose from. Depending on your monsters, that color will match a monster's special movement, a monster's special power, or a monster's standard movement. Pick 1 card and play it face up. So let's say I pick the yellow card. That's the standard movement for my bogeyman here. It shows the number of movements from 2 intersections on the map. So here, my bogeyman can move 5 like this. Since he also has the 3 locations here, he can move from one of those to another for only 1 movement. Also check the player aid, as it shows all the conditions for moving monsters. Monsters cannot enter locations with other monsters or Caretos. When monsters enter a group of villagers, they end their movement for that turn. Immediately collect the campfire token and the villagers disperse and flee. To do that, move 1 villager 1 step through each connected road, starting where you want and then going clockwise. If you have more villagers than roads, then they will group there and you will need to add a campfire token for each group. If there's a monster where the villager is fleeing, it's immediately captured. Finally, when monsters meet a lone villager, they capture the villager and the monster can continue to move and thus capture several villagers that round. Captured villagers go on the monster's card. Another type of monster action is to use the monster's special movement this turn. So the Shepherdess of Wolves can move 2 monsters. The Lost Soul can move through a monster and also, like many of the other monsters, can move a Caretos. Maria Gancha can actually move 2 Caretos. Let's have a look at the player aid to see how we move the Caretos. A Careto cannot move where there's the other Careto. If a Careto meets a monster, the movement ends this turn and the monster is sent to the cauldron. If there was a monster in the cauldron, this one is returned to the map. Monsters return to the map in one of the locations shown on the monster card. When Caretos enter a group of villagers, they end their movement for that turn and the villagers disperse and flee. The campfire token is sent back to the supply. Finally, if a Careto meets a lone villager, the villager is sent to the game box. If the Careto still has movement, it must continue to move and thus could send several villagers back to the box that turn. The third type of monster action are special movements, and these are described in each monster card. 2 are about scaring villagers, 2 about moving monsters or villagers like Caretos, 2 about moving villagers, and 2 about moving monsters. Also, some of the night cards have 1 of 2 actions that need to be played before the main action. Let's have a look at this one, Regrouping the Villagers. Each villager that is alone must move along a path empty of Caretos or monsters until it finds at least another villager. If there are multiple possible paths, the active player chooses which path to use. If the villager forms a new group, place a campfire token. If there's no open path, the villager doesn't move. The other special action is to move Caretos. We've already seen how it works. Now, remember that in your first round, you can only activate 1 monster. However, in subsequent rounds, you could potentially activate both monsters. When you play a night card, you place it on top of the last night card you've played so that you can still see the symbol in the corner. If both symbols are the same, you can activate both your monsters this turn. Play them in the order you wish, but you must complete the action of one before the second can play. Both actions must be of the same color, the one of the top card. Also, remember that you cannot play the same monster twice. Once you have played them, discard all your played night cards to the discard pile. At the end of your turn, and once per turn, you can use 1 or 3 fireplace tokens for optional actions. You can have a look at the 4 options in the player aid. Return 1 campfire token to the supply to buy 1 of the 3 face-up bonus cards. You can get additional victory points by completing their goals. Note that you cannot fulfill it this turn and you keep it face-up until it is fulfilled. These are all about dispersing groups of villagers, not capturing them. Once fulfilled, place it under the monster who fulfilled it. Finally, draw a new bonus card from the deck. There should always be 3 face-up. You can also return 1 campfire token to the supply to give 1 extra move to the monster you just activated. You can also spend 3 campfires to activate the second monster with the same action you've just played. Finally, you can spend 3 campfires to pull your monster out of the cauldron and return it to play. At the end of your turn, don't forget to pick up a night card from the deck, as you must always have 3 in your hand. If there is still 1 villager left or a night card, then it's the next player's turn. However, if the end of game is triggered, we start counting the points. Each villager your monsters have captured are worth 1 victory point. Add the points from the bonus cards you've achieved. Finally, add the points from the final bonus card. They are either for a specific color or sets of colors of your captured villagers. If there's still a tie, then it's the player who has captured the most villagers. And if you still tie, I think you need to play again. My tips to win at Caretos are: the campfires are like the currency in this game. They give you a lot of nice abilities and you should make the most of them. Your end of game objective can make a big difference at the end of the game. You should score them as much as possible. The bonus cards are really hard to complete. Unless you know that you are going to be able to fulfill them, don't worry too much about them. Keep track of the group of villagers. As soon as a new group is formed, place the campfire on it. So that's how you play Caretos. It's a game full of surprises and it's quite quick, so you would be able to play 2 or 3 games in a row. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe or leave in the comments a game you'd like me to teach. We'll make more games easy soon. Bye now.